Hello everyone. How's everybody doing? This is Dr. Godard here. We are going to discuss motivating employees. This is probably one of the most challenging component of organization. How do managers motivate employees? Now, the challenging concept of this has to do, in my opinion, the fact that the managers also have to be motivated. So if you think about it, it's really a chain reaction. If managers consider them as A or very well motivated, most likely they will have the effect on employees considered as B to motivate them as well. If managers are not motivated, it will be very challenging for them to motivate employees because employees most likely will feel it from the manager. Now, that is a theory. Having said that, everything we're going to review here today and how to motivate employees have to do with theory. My understanding and my assessment is it's the notion that human beings are complex. Human beings have issues. Human beings carry with them baggages. It is hard to really assess employees and figure out how to motivate them. Having said that, does not mean that managers should use that as a cop out to say they cannot motivate their employees. It is the hard task, and I will associate that as leadership. It takes leadership to motivate people and not management. Let's go ahead and dive into it to really discuss about the different theories that we can use to motivate employees. We will be reviewing 5 different theories. The first one has to do with the Hawthorne effect and its significance in management. Hopefully, some of those are not new to you. And if they're new to you, great, because then you will be learning something new. We'll talk about the need phase theories of worker motivation, the process phase, the differentiation between theory X, theory Y, and theory Z, and also explain how managers can use job characteristics and goal setting theory to motivate employees. As I stated earlier, everything we'll be reviewing here are theories. That means some of them will work and some of them will not work. What the goal is to equip you with different theories, and you can be the assessor when dealing with employees, when dealing with people reporting to you, which theory may fit them best. And who knows, you may find employees that you have to create your own theory to motivate them. Let's talk about the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect describes the finding that subjects being studied change their behavior because they are aware of being observed. Meaning, many of us here, students, may be very well motivated to finish your homework, to complete your homework. If you are in a class setting where I, as a professor, will be watching over your shoulder, that is pretty much what this theory is. People do not do well unless they know they're being watched. Now, this happened in the 1920s by Elton Mayo, conducted experiments on workers at the Hawthorne plant of the Western Electric companies in Illinois. So researchers concluded that the employees worked harder because they thought they were being monitored individually. So this theory states if you have an employee or if you have employees in your work environment, if you target one and you tell them, I'm watching you, they are very, they are most likely do better because they know they are being watched. Some additional findings of that, the study found that social factors were equally important as financial factors as driving workers' productivity. Another theory is the need-based theory. Need-based theories propose that people are mainly motivated by trying to meet certain needs. If you can understand their needs, you can better motivate them. I have used this theory in the past. Now, as a matter of fact, I have used both theories. The first theory, the Hawthorne theory, I've used it mostly when I'm coaching soccer. I will tell the players, I'm watching you. The fact they know that I'm watching them somehow, somewhere, get them to excel in their games. So recently, uh, coach the junior varsity for the local high school in Portland, Oregon, in Sherwood, Oregon. And the junior varsity field soccer team, the players, each time I step on the field watching them play, they perform better. My understanding after talking to a lot of them, they performed better because they thought I was watching them and there was an opportunity for them to move from JV to JV. And you can also say that also with their needs. They wanted to, um, their needs to be part of JV pretty much encourage the players in JV to do better. So from the Hawthorne theory, you can see how the need-based theory, such as the Maslow, the ERG theory, and the Herzberg two-factor theory, Michael and Aquarian theory, which we're going to review, take into consideration. Most of us, as human, we have this physiological theory. We want water, food, shelter, warmth, right? We want water, we want food, water, shelter, warmth. If we are, if we're not hungry, if we have water, if we have shelter, if we have warmth, we have a roof over our head, most likely that's why many people look for a job. We want to meet those basic needs. But once those needs are met, our driving factor becomes safety and also employment access so that we can provide some financial security for our family. That then leads into family, friendship, intimacy, and belonging. Whether you're an extrovert or introvert or either way or both of them, most likely people really need those. That's why we have all those happy hours. That's why we have all those networking sessions. That's why we have the holiday parties because people want to belong. They want that even though if they're shy, they still want those social interactions. And God knows the impact of what COVID has had on our organization, on our team. And I'm talking, studies have already done some of the analysis, but what will be the long-term effect still yet to be discovered. Once we've got that, now we'll talk about esteem, self-worth, accomplishment, confidence. Some people work hard for accomplishment. They don't work hard for, once they get the bottom three needs met, it's all about accomplishment. It's about self-worth. It's all about building their confidence. Then you have the self-actualization, which is the pinnacle of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the inner fulfillment. The challenge with the inner fulfillment, studies have shown that many people spend 80% of their time doing things for other people and 20% of their time doing things that they really enjoy. So if we're talking about inner fulfillment, you really have to decrease the doing things for other people, doing things that you have to do versus things that you want, that you love, that makes you very creative. Because once you do that, your inner fulfillment will come out because you will be fulfilled about what you're doing. The the notion of creating, for instance, let's just say a nonprofit organization to feed the hungry, to shelter the homeless, to let's just say even personally to coach a high school team, those are inner fulfillment. You don't do those things for money, although you can have money come as a secondary, as a byproduct of that. But the primary driver is really to give back. And usually that drives inner fulfillment. Not to say inner fulfillment has to do with, let's just say the word, I'm looking the word such as social and free stuff or volunteering stuff. Well, what I'm saying is usually inner fulfillment comes when you do the thing that you value, when you do the thing that is yours. So whatever that is for you, go after it. The implication of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, some people work primarily for money and fulfill their higher order of needs elsewhere. Yes, you have a lot of people who work for corporate America. This is what we have the silent quitting phenomenon happening. They pay for health insurance, right? And it's a group of people. Some want to meet higher order needs at work, right? Keeping employees motivated keeps them like something of a moving target. Of course, if you try to give them a job because they were out of a job, right? You met that need, and all of a sudden you do have other needs that will surface as soon as the need one need in the next one will show up. The ERG theory, Alderfer developed the Maslow hierarchy of needs into a theory of his own. He proposed three groups of core needs: existent needs, concerns about basic material requirements for living, similar to Maslow; relatedness needs that have to do with the importance of maintaining interpersonal relationships, similar to Maslow; and growth needs describe our intrinsic desire for personal development, which also very similar to Maslow, but he shrinks it into three. And Alderfer proposed that when a certain category of needs isn't being met, people will redouble their effort to fulfill needs in the lower category. This gave us this idea, this understanding, how would corporate America be if management will take the time and ask employees, what needs are you trying to fulfill today? Right? Because if we know what you want, hopefully we could have given that to you to keep you motivated and get the job done. But we do not know. And sometimes employees don't even know what they're trying to fulfill. Herzberg's two-factor theory set out to determine the effect of attitude on motivation. He asked people to describe the times when they felt really good and really bad about their job. This is an important question. And I will take this time to open this parenthesis and ask you, when describe this time when you felt really good or really bad about your job. When you felt really good or really bad about this class, about your academic journey, really good or really bad about your business, really good or really bad about your interaction with your peers, with your inner circle. Because that's a very insightful question. Because Frederick Herzberg hypothesized that there are two different set of factors governing a job satisfaction and dissatisfaction: the hygiene factors, such as extrinsic motivators, and motivation factors, such as intrinsic motivators. What are those? The job satisfaction, the motivated factors, you're talking about achievement, recognition, responsibility, the work itself, advancement, personal growth. These are motivator factors. And you talk about their hygiene factors, which external, working conditions for worker relations, policies and rules to provide equality, base wage and salary. Having said that, somebody can have all the hygiene factors, meaning the coworkers love them, the policy and procedure help them get the job done well. The supervisor quality is amazing. They can still be working from home or in the office, or they have access to a corner office. They have great salary. However, the job is mundane, right? They don't have recognition. They just ask them to do the work and deliver. The responsibility is minimal, and there's no personal growth. Even with all those hygiene factors, there's still those motivation factors. If they lack, that person will not be 100%. So the concept of employees' expectations then plays a large role in this motivational model. The hygiene factors are expected, so they won't increase motivation when they are present, but they will cause dissatisfaction when they are missing. Isn't that something? They're not gonna motivate you, but they can be a dissatisfaction factor. And the motivation factors, which are intrinsic, there can be a source of additional motivation when they are present. So to increase satisfaction management, the recommendation is focus on motivation factors. To increase satisfaction, whether it's, and also this goes beyond the day job, right? Even people you deal with. To increase satisfaction, you should focus on achievement, recognition, responsibility, the work itself, advancement, and personal growth. Yes, I'm guilty of it. I have a soccer team. I wanted those guys to do well. I recognize them publicly. provide them with responsibility, what they need to do, what not to do, and also the love of the soccer game itself. Now we're in the World Cup, this is really appropriate. And also advancement, the advancement was they can move from the junior varsity to the varsity team. And I applied the same theory for the JV too, right? Talking to them, let them know, hey, you can move to JV. And it is amazing to see how hard they work. Now, having said that, to decrease dissatisfaction, management should focus on their hygiene factors, which are the external ones, such as policy, supervision, and working conditions. McClellan's acquired needs theory split the needs of employees into three different categories. You have the achievement motivated, the affiliation motivated, and the power motivated. Wow, that's a lot. The acquired needs claims that all people are motivated by all of these in varying degrees and promotion and proportion. And I tend to agree. An individual's balance of these needs form a kind of profile that can be useful in creating tailored motivational paradigm for the employee. Next, we have the understanding the process-based theory. There are three best known out there. We have the equity theory, the expectancy theory, and the reinforcement theory. Those are kind of, I would say they're very common. So if you're learning about organizational development, organizational leadership, most likely you will study the theory. The equity theory proposes that people value fair treatment, which motivates them to maintain a similar standard of fairness with their coworkers in the organization. It is based on the ratio of input, meaning as input employee's contribution to outcome, salary, job security. The challenge to this one, many organizations develop something they call pay for performance, meaning you get paid based on your performance. You get rewarded based on your performance. You get your annual incentive based on your performance, meaning the employee's contribution to the workplace can be tangible and intangible, right? So the time you spend working, the level of effort, loyalty, commitment, and enthusiasm. If you do all that, the company will promise you an increase in your salary. The challenge is sometimes they do not do so. And when they do not deliver, employees then become disgruntled because they were promised input and output. I work hard, I get compensated. When you work hard and do not get compensated adequately, you become disgruntled. Now, inside of this equity theory, individuals will try to maximize the outcome. This is visible for salespeople who work on instances. They know if they sell a lot, most likely call salespeople. I'm using that because that's usually the de facto example people use. I have no data to support call salespeople trying to maximize the outcomes by selling people any type of car. What is evident, any type of employment that deals with instances only usually may yield with some behaviors from the salesperson to really get that incentive. Individuals will maximize collective rewards by evolving accepted systems for equitable apportioning resources among them. And when individuals find members participating in inequitable relationships, then they will become distressed. Individuals will discover they are in an inequitable relationship will attempt to eliminate their distress by restoring equity. And there are other theories that challenge this one. I would highly recommend that you do some research on the 0-100 theory that says as somebody owns that relationship, there's 100-0, meaning I'll provide 100% of my involvement in that relationship equity, and I expect 0 things in return. Whenever you remove the expectation, you remove the satisfaction, and you remove disappointment. Again, that's for you to research. Application of the equity theory to management, employee measures the total of their inputs to the outcome as I mentioned. Employees are able to adjust for purchasing power and local market conditions, and the perceptions of their inputs and outcomes of themselves and others may be incorrect. And perceptions need to be managed effectively. That is one of the challenges. If I have the perception I'm doing better than my coworker, and I find out that my coworker gets better paid than I may become disgruntled. Now, not necessarily that I was right, but my perspective of my coworker's level of contributions to the organization, which may be flawed, but that's what I'm using to judge the return. I'm sorry, the output, which has to do with compensation. Expectancy theory is very popular. It suggests that behavior is motivated by anticipated results or consequences, and a person will behave in a certain way based on the expected result of the chosen behavior. That, ladies and gentlemen, is true. I'm not going to say there are no exceptions, but I will tell you I use this often, very frequent. If I raise the hat 5 inches above somebody's head, the likelihood for them to grow 5 inches for their head to go to the hat is very high. Expectancy is the individual's belief that effort will lead to the intended performance goal. If the workers believe, if my players believe they work hard, they will make varsity, most likely they will work hard. If I mention if you work hard, you will get an A on the exam. If you care about getting an A, most of you who care about getting an A will work hard to get that A. Instrumentality is the belief that a person will receive a desired outcome if the performance expectation is met. If all of you do your homework, if all of you submit your assignment on time, you will get an A. That's the instrumentality. The expectancy is you do your homework according to the requirements, you will get an A. Now, if you're late, if you don't do your homework, you really cannot expect an A, right? So, which is the balance, the unique value an individual places on a particular outcome. Those of you who care will do the work. Those of you who do not care may not do the work. Now, I'm saying this also taking into consideration there are external factors such as we all know sickness, busyness, and anything you can think of. I'm talking in general. Now, insights of expectancy theory, it can help managers understand how individuals are motivated to choose various behavioral alternatives. The reinforcement theory, I like that one. Individual's behavior is a function of the consequences of that behavior. You do well, you get compensated well. You do bad, don't ask me about the answer to that one. But however, this is a little bit confusing when you think about it. It's stating the operant conditioning has to do with reinforcement and punishment. Reinforcement, you increase good behavior, right? You increase the behavior. Positive behavior add an appetitive stimulus following the correct behavior. And the negative component of reinforcement then is nested. You remove the noxious stimuli following correct behaviors. You're turning off an alarm clock by pressing the snooze button. Active avoidance behavior avoids noxious stimuli, studying to avoid getting a bad grade. On the other side, you have the punishment, which is to decrease behavior, positive and negative, right? So in summary, the reinforcement theory includes the positive, presence of a stimulus, negative, the absence of such stimulus. Reinforcement increases behavior, punishment decreases such behavior. Escape, you remove the stimulus, and avoidance, you prevent the stimulus. All right. Next one, the factors affecting reinforcement deals with satisfaction, immediacy, and also the signs. We talk about the punishment component as well. The punishment behaviors like suspending an employee for inappropriate behavior, and also negative punishment. An employee in the IT department reports unconventional work hours, but her performance has been suffering recently. So if your performance is suffering, you really cannot make emails, right? And the next one is the theory X, Y, and Z. Again, a very, very popular theory from Douglas McGregor. that state worker motivation is likely linked to the way managers view and treat these workers, and that all managers fall into one of the types, theory X and theory Y. Theory work X management assumes the following: work is distasteful and people will attempt to avoid it. Most people are not ambitious. They have little desire for responsibility and prefer to be directed. Most people have little aptitude for creativity and social and solving organizational problems. Most people resist change. This is really more of a negative component, where motivation under theory X has some odd approach. Motivation relies on coercion, implicit threat, micromanagement, tight control. This is purely management, so and I would not recommend that. The soft approach is more human, what I call more leadership. You seek harmony and hopes that in return employees will cooperate. When asked, soft approach results in growing desire for greater rewards in exchange for diminished work output. And again, it all has to do with the employees that's involved in this. So McGregor asserts that basic assumption of theory X are incorrect. Again, it depends on the people you're dealing with. And for theory Y, employees are motivated. Work can be as natural as play. And again, it has to do with the employees. If they don't care, if they don't see the reward of it, you can start that from sunrise to sunset. You may not get the result that you're looking for. So the implication of theory Y, you have decentralization and delegation, job enlargement, participative management, and performance appraisal. Now, for theory Z, William Auchi blended Eastern and Western management practices, where he proposed that if a company wants to reduce employee turnover, they need to increase commitment, improve morale and job satisfaction, and increase productivity that it needs. A strong company philosophy and culture, long-term staff development and employment, consensus and decisions, generalist employees, concerns for the happiness and well-being of the workers, informal control, and individual responsibility. Now, you will believe, as long as, those theories are very old. As, as old as they are, companies are still missing the mark. This is a lot of information, a lot of theories for management, right? Of course, all theories have some limitations. The limitation for theory Z, it can be difficult for organization and employees to make lifetime employment commitments. Some people have to go. You have to let them go. There used to be a LinkedIn post that says a CEO was talking to a COO. The CEO said something to the effect, what happens if we train our employees and they leave? And the COO responded, what happens if we don't train them and they stay? See? Perspective. Now, strategies for motivating employees, please pay attention to that one, right? It's very important. Job characteristic theory by Greg Oldham and Richard Hartman, right? They talk about job characteristics that deal with 5 core job characteristics that should include skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback. The psychological state that could respond to those job characteristics have to do with experience. Employees will experience meaningfulness, responsibility, and knowledge of results. And the combination of core job characteristics with psychological state influences job work outcomes such as the following: job satisfaction, motivation, and lack of absenteeism. Overall, the manager's goal is to design the job in such a way that the core characteristics complement the psychological state of the worker and lead to positive outcomes. Now, is that easy to do? My friends, if it were that easy, we would have the best companies, such as Disney, all over the world. Job design techniques have to do with job orientation, job enlargement, horizontal, right? Intrinsic and extrinsic rewards, and also job enrichment. When you're talking about goal setting, you're dealing with choice, effort, persistence, and cognition that deals with goals and lead individuals to develop and change behavior. When giving feedback, managers should do the following: create a positive context, focus on the behaviors and strategies, and make feedback a two-way communication process. You can research this one. My favorite component when giving feedback, I like to use something very simple. What went well? What can we do better next time? What went well changes the environment to be very positive, and what can we do better next time? Talk about the negative components, but never see them as a negative thing. So that has been my approach from a leadership perspective. Instead of telling somebody, you did wrong, you did wrong, you did, guess what? They'll know already they did wrong. Telling me that I did wrong when I know I did wrong, how does that help me? Right? Because then uh, the feedback will help us do some goal setting, right? Use production targets to drive motivation. Uh, I know many of you may have heard in the news that Wells Fargo employees created millions of fake bank accounts in order to hit sales targets. So if you bring the expectations to goal setting right here, most likely people will find a way to meet it if it's unreasonable. So within the same job construct, if either you find a way to get people to adhere to those goals, so that some will always, if you think about it, it's like a bell curve. Some people will have a tough time to meet the goals. Some people will have easy time to meet the goals. You really design for the middle, right? And I really want you to, well, this one shows as a class activity, but do it as a personal activity, right? If you're a manager, what strategy would you choose to motivate employees? Now I'm going to remove that. I will tell you, what strategy would you choose to motivate your children, your coworkers, your friends, folks around you? Will it be a single strategy from the module that we just reviewed, or a combination of something else? Will it depend on where you work, your environment? The way you motivate your children will not be the same way you motivate your employees. And let's this be more of a personal assignment, because my goal for you with this module is not necessarily to know a lot of theories per se, but the awareness that they exist. If you ever find yourself in a situation you may feel at loss, know that other people have been in your situation and there are resources available to you that you can leverage. On this note, all of you have a wonderful weekend and see you very soon for the next module. Have a great day. Bye.